Well, I think it's great to focus on the way that we steer technology towards supporting humanity rather than allowing the natural progression we're seeing of technology displacing the most important institutions of humanity, which I'm most focused on democracy. Well, I think digital should be understood as tools. And so, how do tools get deployed to enhance humanity as opposed to weaken, especially the vulnerable in humanity? And if we don't recognize the role for the state to help steer us in one direction versus another, then the natural progression here will be for the tool owners, capital, to exploit the tools to take as much as they possibly can with dire consequences for the rest of society. Well, I think the first thing is that the people who are regulators need to have a richer understanding of the potential good and potential harm. In the United States right now, our Congress is considering a bill to ban any regulation of AI for 10 years, as if we can trust the technology companies for the next 10 years to build these technologies in a way that will be good for humanity. It's idiocy because they have no conception of the technology they are purportedly not regulating. So the first thing is we have representatives and governments that are sophisticated in their understanding of the technology. And secondly, that we have political systems that can actually make a decision in the public's interest as opposed to the interest of those who fund their campaigns or make sure that they get elected. And in the United States, that too is a severe problem because our political system has been so corrupted by money that the representatives aren't free to actually lead. Well, I think people, to the extent they increasingly engage with these technologies, should recognize the extraordinary potential these technologies have for good. But it's only a potential. There are a million ways they can be deployed for good, and there only needs to be 10 ways they can be deployed for absolutely existential harm. And the challenge is that the natural progression is heading towards harm unless we find a way to steer it to make it so it can do good. We grow up believing that what it is to be successful is to have a job where you're working 50 hours a week for 40 years of your life. And we have an opportunity to ask this question, like, why is that what life should be? Like, why not start building a society where people don't need to be working 50 hours a week for 40 years of their life? That's not to say they shouldn't be working, but the kind of work they should be pursuing is the work that makes them want to get up every day and go do something. And that could be anything from being a designer to being a poet to being somebody who's like learning how to play music. And all of this was utopia thought at the stage before we had intelligent machines. But now that we have intelligent machines, it's possible, but we will only get there if we have governance capable of steering us in that direction. And the challenge right now is I don't know that we have that governance anyway. Well, I don't know the impact it will have. I hope the impact it has is the recognition of how urgent it is to spread the knowledge that will be natural here, given the mix of people who are here, to people who don't actually naturally understand the threats and the potential. And I think that if we all feel an obligation, a moral obligation to take up that challenge, then there's something really fantastic that should come from an event like this.